We see it every day, on our money, our national holidays, our pledge to our flag, our street signs, even the names of our towns, religious references. And the question is, if we have a wall of separation between church and state, then why do we see mentions in society? In this short documentary, we shall discuss its origins and its effects on our nation.
There is a phrase which recurs in our national documents. The literature of our story as a people, which points to the source of our belief in individual freedom, and defines perhaps better than any other the nub of the conflict between the opposing systems of values which sweep the world today. That phrase is, "This nation under God." That phrase and others like it set the standard of our concept of man. As a creature of God, man is a being with dignity and conscience, with the ability to determine right from wrong and the obligation to act on that right. From this belief in man as a responsible being flow the beliefs in his other qualifications which we accept, usually even without bothering to think about them, as parts of that vague condition which we call the American way.
On the Ten Commandments ruling, the court issued a pair of divided decisions on whether religious symbols can be displayed on government property. The court allowed the Ten Commandments to remain on display at the Texas Capitol, but not at 2 Kentucky courthouses.
With the anointment of right-wing Judge Samuel Alito to the U.S. Supreme Court, the religious right is likely to exercise even more influence over our lives.
And our compassion when it takes a terrible storm to reveal the hungry that God calls on us to feed, the sick that He calls on us to care for, the least of these commands that we treat as our own.
Our Constitution and our secular laws are not based on the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments were not used by the framers of our Constitution.
Because the spirit of America springs from faith. Faith in the beloved institutions of our land. And a true and abiding faith in the divine guidance of God.
Since Columbus's discovery of the world in 1492, religion has played an important role in the development of culture and government. This was especially true for the newly formed colonies in North America. By 1620, settlers came from every European country in search of a new life. Economic and religious freedom were the ultimate idea. This was bittersweet, however, for each new colony had its own belief structure, and it influenced their laws and the enforcement of them in order to establish utopian societies.
If any man or woman be a witch, that is, hath or consulteth with a familiar spirit, they shall be put to death. If any man rise up with false witness, wittingly and of purpose take away any man's life, he shall be put to death. To death.
Puritans, Quakers, Anglicans, Catholics, Lutherans, and Presbyterians were the first to form colonies. Soon other variations of Protestantism followed with the Methodists, Pentecostals, and the Baptists. In essence, North America was the first overtly formed Protestant society. And in the Revolutionary War came in 1775. As 12 years passed, the newly freed colonies, loosely attached by an unwavering Continental Congress, had completed their task and ratified the Constitution of the United States. The document was a well-thought-out work, a product of debate and compromise. Not only did the Constitution dictate how the newly formed government was to operate, it came with a specific list of rights designed to protect the citizens of this new country. The Founding Fathers called it the Bill of Rights. Of these 10 amendments, the one that comes to everyone's mind is the First Amendment,
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of
Today,
the press,
this country is split
or
on
the
its
right of
meaning.
the people
Does this
peaceably
clause
to
mean a
assemble
total separation of
and
church
to
and state, or is it just as it says, a prohibition on a national religion? On the surface of history, we know that of 55 delegates who ratified the Constitution, 31 were Episcopalians, 16 were Presbyterians, 8 were Congregationalists, 3 were Quakers, 2 Catholic, 2 Methodist, 2 Lutheran, and 2 Dutch Reformed. Having said that, of these men, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and 8 others, while members of the Episcopal Church, leaned toward deism. So our question can be argued either way. Here's something else that muddies the water of the argument. Thomas Jefferson's letter to the Danbury Baptist Association in the state of Connecticut.
Gentlemen, the affectionate sentiments of esteem and approbation which you are so good as to express towards me, on behalf of the Danbury Baptist Association, give me the highest satisfaction. My duties dictate a faithful and zealous pursuit of interests of my constituents, and in proportion as they are persuaded of my fidelity to those duties, the discharge of them becomes more and more pleasing. Believing with you that religion is a matter which lies solely between man and his God, that he owes account to none other for his faith or his worship, that the legitimate powers of government reach actions only, and not opinions. I contemplate with sovereign reverence that act of whole American people, which declared that the legislator should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, thus building a wall of separation between church and state. Adhering to this expression of the supreme will of the nation in behalf of the rights of consequence, I shall see with sincere satisfaction the progress of those sentiments which tend to restore to man all his natural rights, convinced he has no natural right in opposition to his social duties. I shall see with sincere satisfaction the progress of those sentiments which tend to restore to man all his natural rights, convinced he has no natural right in opposition to his social duties. I reciprocate your kind prayers for the protection and blessing of the common Father and Creator of man, and tender you for yourselves and your religious association assurances of my high respect and esteem. Thomas Jefferson, January 1st, 1802.